So, in your opinion, was the transition from 0 kids to 1 kid or 1 kid to 2 kids worse? What has that been like adding a second to the family?
I was so worried about adding a second, but I will have to say, and I think Brett agrees, the transition from 0 to 1 was a nightmare. Like, just pure nightmare. We had no idea what we were doing. 1 to 2 was much easier. Do you agree? Um, as a new parent, you just have no idea what to expect with sleeping. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Your child's up every 2 to 3 hours to eat if you're nursing. And especially if you can't console them to like go back to bed, you're kind of like in this frantic panic mode. Every single little thing that they do, you're like Googling to make sure that it's okay. I feel like with our first kid, we like logged how often he ate, how often I nursed him, how often he pooped and peed. And it just seems like almost like robotic, like that you can't like enjoy the process because you were just so concerned as a new parent. And you're also just like figuring out what they like. The second kid, you kind of already know all of that. So you know your expectations, you know you're going to get limited sleep, but you also are like more equipped to handle how babies sleep. Like, for example, it took us about a month to figure out that our firstborn wanted to be double swaddled. So, like, swaddled in a blanket, and then we used like this Ollie swaddle. And we started that with her from the get go. And so it's like she's sleeping like our firstborn was sleeping at a month. She's only waking up a couple times at night. And yeah, she needs consoled and she might need held, but we understand now how quickly time passes, as our firstborn is already almost 2. So it truly is just a phase. Yeah, the transition from 0 to 1, much, much harder. 1 to 2 feels pretty easy so far, but we also have a lot of hands helping us, which we're grateful for.
How about, do you have any advice for new parents or people that are pregnant with their first kid?
I think the biggest piece of advice I have for new parents, and it's so hard to think about this when you're in the thick of it and sleep deprived, but no, just know that the season that you're going through will pass. And when you look back on it, it literally seems like a blink of an eye. Like it goes by so quickly. So for new parents who are like struggling with, sleep or what have you, just keep that in the back of your head. If you're still pregnant and, you're preparing for that first kid, I think my like biggest piece of advice is to educate yourself on all the different, things that could be offered to your child at the hospital, and then also educate yourself on what it truly looks like for the first month of a newborn's life. I think that sometimes, social media like glamorizes what it looks like, and it truly isn't all what it's cracked up to be. Like, they do sleep a lot, but they also need held a lot, and it's okay to like be tired and like navigate it all. The other piece of advice I'd give for new parents if you're still pregnant is to meal prep. You truly don't have a lot of time to like cook and do all the things, and that has been really helpful for us.
What do you mean by meal prep?
Like, what I mean by meal prep is like cooking in advance and freezing those meals. So we have made different like egg and sausage casseroles for breakfast that we can just pop in the oven. throughout the week, so we know we have like breakfast prepared. We have done different crock pot meals, so like chicken fajitas we've done, where I just cut up a bunch of peppers and chicken, put it in fajita seasoning, and then don't even cook it. We just stick a bag of that in the freezer for when we want to use it. So things like that. We've done the same with turkey burgers. We made sure that we ordered a bunch of meat, so we have that on hand, because I just feel like protein's harder to come by, and it's easier for us to just like run down to the store and get some fruit and veggies as a side. So things like that.
And if you're looking for tips on meal prep, or you don't know what to cook, you can go to CrossFitPortClinton.com, scroll down to the MetFix section of our homepage. There's a recipe posted every day. If you get past 7 days from your current date, it's going to bounce you to brokenscience.org. They have a archive of recipes going back to, I think, February 2025. You can literally pick your protein option, and it will give you all the meals that you want to make for that type of meal. We also have resources that we can give to people for free for meal planning calendar and a grocery shopping list that will kind of guide you outside the aisles, focusing on more whole foods, staying away from sugar, processed foods, and seed oils. My advice for new parents would be to just do your own research. The hospitals are literally going to follow a flow chart. So if you're not informed, they're going to go through whatever the checklist tells them to go through. And that might not necessarily be the best thing for your kid. My personal opinion is it's going to be the best for the hospital's bottom line, and that's what they're going to do. So educate yourself, read books on the history of what they're going to try to put you through, or you put your kid through, and just know what the historical context of some of those diseases that they're trying to vaccinate for were like, what the current risk is to your kid for the disease, and then make an informed decision. I'm not telling you to or not to do anything, but I would just say do some research and make a decision on your own. Don't let them tell you what to do. Do you want to add anything to that conspiracy theory? Don't do it.